Wednesday Night Reviews.
Thank you for tuning in, everyone. Welcome to Wednesday Night Reviews. I'm your host, Konrad, and from superheroes to average Joes, here's what I read this week. So this week I tackled Faithless, numbers 1, 2, and 3 from Boom Studios, written by Brian Azzarello and drawn by the ever-talented Maria Llovet. This story's subtitle is probably my favorite that I've come across as of yet, and reads out, an erotic depiction of faith, sex, and the devil in the tradition of the Divine Comedy. Of course, the Divine Comedy written by Dante Alighieri. You might also know it as Dante's Inferno. The book itself is fantastic. It starts off with Faith, your average girl living her average life in the big city, happens to have a hobby for magic, and she likes to draw magic circles in her notebook. More or less, nothing unusual about her. She has fun with it. Her friends, your average people, like to have coffee, which is where we first see them in a coffee shop, and from there, life kind of takes an odd turn. Her friends eventually leave. They have to go off and work and do their thing, and so Faith takes her leave when she bumps into Poppy, who's a stunning blue-haired woman, super confident, super sexy, and something about her is just otherworldly and appealing. Well, when they bump into each other, quite literally, Faith spills her drink on Poppy, and thus offers to buy her any drink she'd like. Well, short after, before they even have a chance to really talk, a gentleman named Michael runs up chasing Poppy, and he appears to be some sort of lover or suitor, or maybe just a one-night stand. We don't know. But thanks to Faith, Poppy's able to get rid of him, and they sort of go on their way, and they actually hit up a bar, play some pool, and have some fun, and they kind of hit it off. It's really nice. And then some weird stuff starts happening. So on their way to the bar, they bump into someone, and Faith kind of swipes his wallet because they don't have any money. And instead of just taking it and stealing it, she gives it back to the man, and he says, "Oh, thank you so much. Here, take $100 for being honorable." And so they enjoy their night. Kind of an odd thing, but hey, why not? Honesty and such must be rewarded, right? Their night continues. While they're shooting pool, broadcast comes on TV. Michael, the guy she helped Poppy get rid of, he's jumping off a building. And all the while, they're just having a nice normal date, getting a little flirty. You know, normal young adult stuff. I believe these women are, well, Faith is depicted as being, I believe, in her early to mid-20s. And they really just kind of keep going from there. They eventually end up back in Poppy's apartment, and by the ending of issue 1, they put 50 Shades of Grey to shame, let's just put it that way. And all seems fairly normal until we pull out on the final frame and see that Poppy is less than human. She is something entirely different, but Faith has no clue. And that's when issue 2 starts, when Faith wakes up, and she's in Poppy's apartment alone. And from there, the story just gets more and more bizarre. Through Poppy, Faith actually ends up meeting Beyonce. She goes to a huge exclusive party, meets other famous actors, and just sort of lives big life. And more strange things keep coming up. She meets this dark, handsome, brooding guy who's smoking on a fire escape where the security for the club tries to take her out, and they have an odd interaction where you'd almost think that they were going to die, and it just kind of keeps going, this spiral of obscure, odd, magical things happens to Faith that you can't explain, and neither can Faith, until the ending of issue 3, where we see Faith really in the midst of this magical world that she doesn't understand and wasn't prepared for. So guys, absolutely, when it comes to the story of Brian Azzarello, check out Faithless. If you're more of an art buff than you are anything else, please do pick up this book. Maria Llovet's art is ridiculous. The drawing is simultaneously detailed and undetailed, which allows you to really fill in with your mind what happens. And Here's a good opening shot that we see of Faith after, well, it's literally the second page. She's just on her bed after, well, having some intimate time and failing. You can see that there is a high level of detail in the room. There's books, there's, whatever she has in her room. But in her body itself, while we do get her form, there isn't a lot of detail rendered in ribs or any structure in here. There's really no muscular shown. And that continues through just about every character. Faces are drawn fairly simple, fairly, not generic, but without detail. But because of how our minds work and the art style, you inherently fill it in, and it looks great. So there is something really haunting about this style that works so perfectly with Brian Azzarello's writing. It just kind of matches, and it's creepy and yet familiar. So when we are taken into these intimate moments, because of the art being this simple view, it's easy to see, and it doesn't feel wrong or voyeuristic. Instead, it feels rather inviting. Until, of course, we see the weird otherworldly end of it, which is just entirely off-putting, again, because of this sort of vague, weird style that leaves out details so that your mind can fill in the worst parts of it. So, guys, absolutely, Faithless number 1 through 3 is out. Number 4 will be coming out next month, and 5 will finish it off. If you don't have the ability to pick up issues 1 through 3 any longer, give it 3 months. I'm sure we'll get a paperback or even a hardcover, and you'll absolutely love it. Another great thing is the backs of each of these books actually has quotes from either, well, this one's Rumi on the back here. The others quote the Bible to really give it a serious tie to religion, and all of the quotes perfectly fit it. Thanks for tuning in, everyone, to Wednesday Night Reviews. This again has been Faithless numbers 1, 2, and 3 by Brian Azzarello, drawn by Maria Llovet, published by Boom Studios. Number 1 came out in April of this year, and of course every subsequent issue every month after. So please do check out the series at your local comic book store. If they can't get it to you in trade issues anymore, because of course it might be sold out, you can always check out or call them and wait for the paperback or the hardcover. If they don't have it, try to hit up your local library. They very well might, as they are trying to get up to date and have graphic novels nowadays. And worst comes to worst, if you have to, you can always hit up a shop like Chapters, the big corporations, or even Amazon should you need to. Have a great night, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your day.